Greetings, YouTube. In the past couple of weeks, I've had a number of different people ask me about prisoners, particularly how we treat them and how we go about shortening their sentences. One person asked me if I thought that shortening the prison time of prisoners because they do book reports, an idea which I think is coming out of Brazil, but I could be wrong on that one, is good. And another person asked me what I think about prisoners being allowed to train animals or keep pets. Now, as far as book reports go, I think we should be trying to rehabilitate prisoners through education. I think that's an excellent idea. And I believe that the book report program is that for so many book reports you do, you're able to reduce your prison sentence by a certain number of days per year. It's a limited. It's not unlimited. And I would put some limits on that. For example, I would make sure that the type of books being read were worthy of a book report. There are lots of books out there available which in and of themselves are entertaining, but may not be the best kind of thing for a book report to show that a prisoner is educating themselves and is on a path of rehabilitation. For example, I don't necessarily want to see a whole lot of book reports on 50 Shades of Grey. But if they're discussing nonfiction books or some literature or even some of the great novels written in the contemporary times, I wouldn't have a problem with it. There's a lot to be learned from them, and I think that this particular idea has some merit. The only downside I could think of is that there's possibility that these reports could be used as currency in and of themselves. Prisoners shopping them around, or if the program was available to people in other places, maybe sending them to other prisons to be used by other prisoners. Also, that prisoners could be having the one person in their prison that's a really big reader and a good writer do the book reports and then passing them in for themselves. So there's going to have to be some kind of controls put in place. You don't want to just create another form of economy within the prison system. That isn't going to help you. But I think the idea has some worth. Like I said, I think it has some merit. And I think that if we can push prisoners towards educating themselves and improving their view of the universe, I'm all for it. Which goes into the next thing about training animals and keeping pets. Anytime you can get someone to feel a sense of empathy and sympathy for another living organism, that's a step in the right direction. Because empathy and sympathy and compassion for an animal translates fairly well towards empathy and sympathy and compassion towards a human being. Yes, I'm aware that human beings are animals. But most people put animals and humans into different categories inside their head. Mostly because animals are sentient but not sapient, and we are sapient, at least most of us are. And I think that is a massive benefit. Because if you can make that connection between a person and an animal, they can translate that between themselves and their fellow human beings. Now, some would say, well, prison is about punishment. No, I don't believe prison is about punishment. I believe prison is about isolating individuals who have shown that they cannot function in society from the rest of us. And that we should do everything we can to rehabilitate the people that have been isolated, so when they are released, they will be better human beings and able to function in society. I also believe we need to redo how we send people to prison, because we send lots of people to prison pointlessly, particularly non-violent offenders, which could be doing community service, or in the case of, say, anti-drug laws, we should just get rid of them. So I endorse the whole idea of prisoners training animals and keeping pets. I think it's useful. I think it's helpful. I want to see prisoners become more empathetic, more sympathetic, more compassionate towards their fellow man. These are the things that will help us create an environment where prisons become smaller and less needed. I also think we should completely do away with for-profit prisons. Prisons should be something that we, the people, pay for and control. They should be the measure of last resort. They should not be something that is used to make a profit from. That is unethical, immoral, and it's just monumentally inhuman. Because that is the point that I have driven home many times before. We treat prisoners humanely. Not because we like them. Because let's face it, if they've shown that they can't function in society, we may not like them. But we treat them humanely because we are humane. Because we have shown that our humanity can be extended towards another person, even a person that has shown they will not function within society's codes, that we will still treat them like human beings. I know it's a radical concept. So, there's my response. I believe that book reports and rehabilitation through education are excellent ideas. We just need to make sure they're done in a sensible manner. And I believe that prisoners training animals for other programs or keeping pets is positive because it helps build bridges between themselves and other living beings, which will help bridge gaps between themselves and other human beings. Not living beings. I think I said living beings and human beings. I guess we'll find out. So I approve of these programs. I think they're important. And I'm open to any ideas that you might have about how you might improve the lot of prisoners in the world and how we can help reduce the number of prisoners and increase the chances of people rehabilitating and not having rates of recidivism